Happy NFL trade deadline day. Nets fans, happy firing of Steve Nash day. Phillies fans, Astros fans, happy World Series Game 3 day. It's the first day of November. I can't believe we have baseball in November, but most of all, happy Sports Memo Tuesday today. We're happy to be with you. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, and we got a great show planned for you here. We're going to be welcoming back my guy, Nick Parsons, with the Insider's Room. He's going to be up first, taking a look at college football, and you want to listen when Nick Parsons talks college football. This guy is on an absolute roll. And another guy who's been crushing it in CFB, Jeff Michaels, joining the show second up here on a $2 Tuesday. It's also a treat because we have two of the three $2 Tuesday handicappers at Sports Memo. The other one you heard on Puck Time down from Mexico, talking some Dia de los Muertos. I hope I pronounced that right. That's Buster Sports. He's got a Sunday NFL play of the day that you can grab right now at sportsmemo.com for just $2, or pay the $5 and get both of our guests as well, both of them with a 5%er locked and loaded. And they're going to win you around with some college football talk on the show today. So nothing to it but to do it. So let's get into it. Welcome back, Nick Parsons from the Insider's Room. Nick, it is good to see you, my guy. How's it been since we last talked? What do you have up at sportsmemo.com? And I know you're pumped for some action returning here and some college football action.
Exactly. November 1st, Maction is back. And yeah, I'm back on the show, and thanks for having me back. And look, I'm in the new house here, and so you got to forgive me. We just got in here. We sold the old house and just don't have the office set up. But hey, I'm here. I'm on the show, and I definitely want to try and get you guys some winners here. And so, yeah, over at Sports Memo, got the $2 Tuesday play going on, my 5% play, as you mentioned. Over the last 6 weeks, I've gone 71% with my college football plays. That's 20-8. And so, yeah, there you go, Dan. I'm definitely pumped and ready to get into these games here with you.
Yeah, and I was saying to you before we came on here, Nick, and you can check him out, sm.buzz/TIR. That stands for the Insider's Room. I was saying, luckily, the people are here for those 71%ers. The people are here to listen to your picks. They're not here for the background. Well, I will say camera's looking good right too. So Nick's ready to go no matter where he's moving. And hey, you can insulate your bankroll much like the insulation hanging out behind Nick today. So let's talk some college football, brother, and start with this Boston College Duke game. Second guest on the show here was actually talking this one, making a case for the other side on Wager Talk today, earlier today. So I'm interested to see the handicap when Boston College is taking on Duke. What does Nick Parsons think?
Yeah, a mildly interesting game here on Friday night between these ACC opponents. Not the most exciting one, obviously, but the reason I sort of think that it's mildly interesting is because Duke is now 5-2. It's on the cusp of eligibility. You know, it had a big upset win 2 weeks ago, 45-21 at Miami. Yeah, it has no shot at winning the ACC, not with, 8-0 Clemson, 7-1 North Carolina ahead of it. But after this game, it's facing 2-6 Boston College here this weekend. So it still has 3 games after this one to try and reach that 6-win plateau, including another really favorable matchup against 2-6 Virginia Tech next weekend. So, yeah, we've now reached the point of the season where we can look at what teams have done in the past and use that information to try and predict the future. And to me, this one sets up as a bit of a letdown and a bit of a look-ahead spot for Duke here. They're coming off that emotional win 2 weeks ago, and a letdown plus a look-ahead spot, to me, that usually equals trap game. For the Eagles, now you're looking at them at 2-6. They have 4 games remaining. The likelihood of them running the table and becoming eligible is 0. There's no chance that's ever going to happen. I still think they can make a game of this one, though, as they try to play spoiler here for at least one more game. I just don't think that Duke and Riley Leonard, they're going to run up the score here. Boston College it is. It's coming off a 13-3 loss at Connecticut. It was a 7.5-point favorite in that one. It wasn't completely quarterback Phil Jerkovich's fault entirely. He did throw for 155 yards, but he did have the 2 interceptions. He also ran for 29 yards on 15 carries. But despite that, there was a bright spot, and that was on the defensive end. Boston College did hold UConn to just 280 total yards of offense. So I think I am going full on contrarian here to your other guest who you had on earlier and to probably most of the betting world here. But I just think that the back door is open here for the home side. I think they're going to comfortably sneak in through down the stretch. And so for this first play, I'm going to suggest grabbing the points and Boston College.
The back door swinging open in the wind as Boston College is taking on Duke. That's according to our guy, Nick, with the Insider's Room. Guy who's running hot in college football, free play right there. And he doesn't just have one for you. He's got a 2-pack. Let's talk Arizona and Utah. The Utes laying the number here, man. Around 18-point favorites are the Utes as they're taking on the Wildcats. How are we betting this one? Another look towards the dogs, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm looking at the dog again here. I just think that this is a few too many points for Utah. As I was mentioning on the play in Boston College, this is we've reached that point of the season where we're basing, this is a good time of the season to be basing picks on situations. And I do think that this is a good situational play on Arizona. So I'm not calling for the outright upset. This is 18 points, as you pointed out there. But I just think that this will be a much tighter battle than what this spread is suggesting. Now, Utah is 6-2. It held on for the 21-17 road win at Washington State last weekend. It was a 7-point favorite in that one. So it has now become eligible. They still have an outside shot at winning the Pac-12. Oregon is 7-1. USC is 7-1. UCLA is 7-1. Washington is 6-2 as well. Utah is 2-1 straight up in its last 3, but it's 0-3 against the spread. And so, as I was mentioning, I think that this is a few too many points for it to be giving up here. Now, Arizona, it's only 3-5. It has just 4 games left to try and win 3 of them. After this, it's at UCLA, but then it has Washington State and Arizona State at home, and those are 2 very winnable games. If it can somehow win one of the next 2 games, then it has a legitimate shot at winning those 6 games. But again, I'm not predicting an outright upset here or anything, but the motivation to try and do that is there for the visitors. Now, Arizona, it's coming off a competitive loss last week to USC. It was 45-37 at home. They've been competitive of late. They're 3-1 against the spread in their last 4. So yeah, it's primarily a situational handicapper. These are the types of situations, Dan, that I'm looking for at this time of the season. And so I think this is a good situational play. I'm going to grab the points. Give me Arizona.
While the marketplace is zigging, Nick Parsons and the Insider's Room, they say, forget that, we're zagging. Nick, remind people what you have up over at SportsMemo.com. Tell them about your 5% play that you're jacked up for going this Saturday against 71% over the last 6 weeks in college football. 20-8, not too bad. You can grab the play for just $2. Let them know about it, Nick.
Exactly. Yeah, 20-8 over the last 6 weeks. So we're seeing the board really well, guys. Take advantage of that $2 play over at Sports Memo. It's a 5% play. It's locked and loaded for this weekend. It's a Saturday play. So go check that out. My name's Nick Parsons at the Insider's Room.
Appreciate you, Nick. Always a pleasure seeing you, and good luck as you continue the move there. We'll be looking forward to seeing what you got behind you next week when we chat with you. So a big thanks to Nick Parsons coming here on Sports Memo Today. Again, that 5% college football play is locked and loaded for this Saturday. You can also grab a Sunday NFL play of the day from Buster Sports alongside a 5%er AAC game of the month from our guy JM Sports. That's all at sportsmemo.com. And also JM's Pops, he's the $2 Tuesday handicapper over at Wager Talk. You can grab his 5% NBA play going tonight. It's his first 5%er of the NBA season, and he's on an 83% run. Man, 71% runs. We got 83% ones. It's almost like these guys know what they're doing. Let's welcome in the younger of the Michaels, Jeff Michaels here at JM Sports. You can find him sm.buzz/JMS. We allowed him to come back on since he was the $2 Tuesday handicapper, even though he faded my Phillies last week in a free play And I don't know, it's starting to look pretty good, pretty good, Jeff. That pitching staff is real for the Astros. How you been since we last talked, man?
Good, yeah, I can't complain. And I'll tell you real quick, while you were talking to Nick, we were talking NFL trade deadline before we came on air. How
Mhm.
about Bradley Chubb to the Dolphins in return for Chase Edmonds, the running back, and a first-round draft pick next year? So Miami's defense got a
Wow.
little better too. Yeah, that was a big one. Happened while you guys were talking. So that one just broke for
Jeez.
you.
How about that? JM Sports breaking some news while also breaking the bankrolls of those bookies. You love to see it, man. You're excited for that 5%er. We'll talk about that here in a little bit because let's start off with, we got LSU and Alabama this weekend, sure, but this is a pretty damn good marquee matchup as well. Tennessee and the undefeated Georgia Bulldogs. I'll start off, Jeff, with the Vols. They're hot, but do they have a shot against this juggernaut of a defense? How are you betting this one?
I kick it off with a little TNA, as my dad likes to call it. Since
Nice.
November 2nd of 2019, teams off a 30-point conference win held their opponents under 250 yards. They're 14-3 against the spread as a dog in their next game, 13-1 when the line is more than just 1 point. So that
Hmm.
leans towards Tennessee, and I like what they've done so far. They've played a harder schedule than Georgia, and they haven't played a defense quite like Georgia, but they're ranked number 1 in the country. They're putting up 162 yards per game above what their opposing defenses are normally allowing. And that number's even better in conference play, 191 yards above what their defenses are allowing. And you're thinking about games like LSU, Florida, Bama. They've put up the most yards that every defense has allowed that they've played except for Pitt. They were number 2 on Pitt's list, but they've allowed more yards, or they've put up more yards than any defense has allowed this season that they've played. Georgia, I mean, they're just 3-4 against the spread in these games. They are number 1 in terms of holding teams below their average yardage, but they're coming off one of their worst defensive performances against Florida last week. They let them get right back into the game in the second half. They gave up 17 straight unanswered points to start that second half. And if they do that against Tennessee, I mean, Tennessee showed you that they can beat a top-ranked team. They took down Alabama, in an exciting one. If Georgia lets them back in it, they're in a real potential to win this game, especially with the fact that Georgia is probably going to be without their leading edge rusher, Nolan Smith. So I like Tennessee plus the points, but I think we could be potentially looking at another big upset for Tennessee.
Looking at the Vols, maybe potentially getting the outright upset, you think. But hey, if we're getting +8 with them, I'll take those points all day. And then maybe, like they say on Bet On It, you alluded to the TNA there. And for those of you who aren't watching Bet On It, I don't know what you're doing. His pops, Ralph Michaels, comes on every week and has been dropping dimes in the TNA segment. You're wondering, TNA? What the hell? No, it's Trends and Angles. Get your heads out of the gutters, folks. Tennessee +8, according to my guy, Jeff Michaels. You can follow him at JM Sports Cleveland on Twitter. Let's talk a little college football again here. Not only has this been the college football edition, Jeff, this has been the all underdog edition of the show. So we've had 3 plays: Boston College +10, Arizona +18. That's from Nick Parsons. You came on saying the Vols might pull the outright upset, but take with the 8 with them while you can win this UCLA Arizona State game. Are we going all dogs on the show, or how are we betting this one, Jeff?
We are not. I'm going to switch it up a
Ah,
little bit. But we're going back to the Pac-12 like Dick was talking about earlier, and I got one more angle for you there, Dan. Home dog against a conference opponent. The line's between 10 and 21. Coming off a conference win, 16, 6 and 1 against the spread
oof.
since 2019. So not looking very good for Arizona State in that aspect, but UCLA, I mean, has proven they can show up on both sides of the ball. Their defense bounced back last week. They did have 2 rough games on that side against Utah and Oregon. But they're still currently holding teams 58 yards below their season average. And their offense has just dominated opposing defenses. They're putting up 114 yards above what the defenses are normally allowing. And even against Oregon, they put up one of the top games that Oregon had allowed on the defensive side of the ball, even though they didn't walk away with the win in that one. UCLA has covered 4 out of the last 5 meetings between these two teams, and they're a perfect 7-0 over the last 2 years against teams with a losing record against the spread. Not only are they winning those games, but they're dominating those games. They're winning by 23 points per game on average. And as you've heard, I talked a couple times about offenses putting up more yards than the defense are allowing, and vice versa. In both senses, Arizona State is ranked 100th or lower, sitting in the bottom quarter of the FBS. And now they have to take on an impressive UCLA team. Sun Devils are allowing 32.5 points per game in their 5 conference games, and UCLA's 4-1 against the Pac-12 ATS this season, and they're putting up nearly 40 points a game. So I'm expecting a big one out of the Bruins here, and I don't think Arizona State has to come anywhere near close to matching that. So UCLA minus the 10.5. I'm throwing off the dog vibe, and we're going with the favorite in this one. Sorry, Dan.
Damn it. It was going so well, Jeff. But for what it's worth, if you want this 10.5 with our guy JM Sports, you probably want to grab it now, because I'm seeing some of these sharper books. Circa's already up to 11. It's looking like some of them are getting juiced towards that 11. So if you want the 10.5, you don't have to worry about a push with that always key number of 11, Jeff. You want to grab the 10.5 while you can now. Jeff, let people know what you have up for this weekend. Let them know about that 5% play that you're pumped up for, and what else they'll find over at your page, sm.buzz/JMS.
Yeah, guys, obviously we're excited for the 5%. As Dan said earlier, AAC game of the month for you, just $2, or you go grab all 3 plays for $5. We're number 2 on SportsMemo this season in college football plays against the spread, up over 20 units, and we're on a 7-2 run on 5% plays too. So we're running hot. That Tennessee play is probably going to be a premium play of mine this weekend too, but looking forward to some more college football action this weekend.
He's Jeff Michaels. You can get his 5% play alongside Don Buster, alongside the Insider's Room, for just $5. If you're not doing that, I don't know what the hell you're doing, because the records speak for themselves. Jeff, always a pleasure, man. We'll talk to you soon. Best of luck on your plays, brother.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
So I know people are probably thinking, they're like, what are you guys doing that it's World Series and you don't have any World Series actionable info, what everybody's looking for? I'm no professional handicapper. I'm just a schmuck that hosts shows alongside these experts. But what I'll tell you is Yordan Alvarez looked incredible in batting practice. I know it's batting practice, yada, yada, yada. Not only did the guy hit 11 home runs in batting practice earlier today for the Astros, he also sent one that nearly went out of the ballpark. So I know, again, it's batting practice, but you're giving me plus 170 for Yordan Alvarez to get an RBI off a Ranger Suarez as the starter. I think I got to bet that one. Betting with the head, not the heart. So there's a little MLB World Series. It goes tonight at 8:03. I'm betting Yordan Alvarez over a half RBI. So just record one, Yordan. And yes, I guess I'll be rooting for the opposite side. At least when one guy is up to bat, that's plus 170. You can probably find some better prices out there as well. So that's going to do it for us. Huge thanks to Nick Parsons and Jeff Michaels. You can grab those 5%ers that they have, just $5 to package that with Buster Sports NFL play for this weekend. Grab Ralph Michaels $2 Tuesday, NBA 5%er as well, just $2 at wagertalk.com. You enjoyed the show? All we ask you to do, hop on below in those comments. Let us know what you're betting on, whether you agree, whether you disagree. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a show here on SportsMemo TV or Wager Talk TV. Download the Wager Talk TV app, and that's going to do it. For Jeff Michaels, for the Insider's Room and Nick Parsons, I'm Dan Alexander, and we'll talk to you Thursday here on SportsMemo Today.